Hello and welcome to day 15 of the qualifiers. Today I'm up against entu, and he's generally very good at combat in this game. Elimination is his preferred game mode, and since my bots are pretty scrappy by nature, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go. You can see there's 5 resources in the middle, which means that the middle's probably just going to be a bloodbath the whole time. But let's see how it gets off. And you can see right away, he's rushing the mid resource with 3 of his bots. I'm sending 4, but one of my bots got distracted on the way in. That's a very rare occurrence, but it can happen. But that is going to take my shotgun out of the fight. My shotgun could have grabbed this mid resource instead, but I might have to look into how that's behaving and alter it, because that is not desirable. My bots are slowly trying to push him away. My machine gun is trying to stop his, or my sniper now is trying to stop his shotgun from collecting the resource. He did manage to move it a little bit, but that moving it a little bit isn't the end of the world, since it's actually now technically closer to my base. But now my assault's moving up to grab that resource, and I'm pressuring his shotgun. That works out fairly well for me, I think. If my assault can grab and score these resources, that would be fantastic, but I lost my machine gun in the mid, and my shotgun went to sneak a resource from his side of the map, but is being intercepted by his assault and his sniper, so that's not going to happen. You can see basically we're doing a lot of similar things. His machine gun did manage to capture, so we're at 1-1 currently, but so far I've lost 2 bots to the fighting, and his assault has only lost half of its health, and his shotgun about a quarter of its health. So far he's fighting a lot more effectively than I am, and that's giving him control of the middle. His sniper's actually about to capture a second resource, and that puts him up 2-1. So at this point, I need to force him off of this base, or just grab all the resources down here at the bottom. My bots don't really have a whole lot of map awareness. I talk about them like they do, but they essentially just react very simply to what the enemy is doing. And so they don't understand that there's 3 resources here or 5 resources here, and if it captures the 5, it wins. They don't know that. It would see, his machine gun grabbed this resource. That's home free. I'm not gonna be able to prevent that capture. And that's gonna put him up 3-1. There were 11 resources on the map, so the magic number is 6. He's basically halfway there already, and with 2 minutes 30 on the clock, it's keeping pace with the match timer. This shotgun's being a problem though. It's trying to harass stuff. That should let this assault capture pretty nicely, but I imagine the shotgun will be back before I get another point. My bots are trying to push, but like I said, entu's combat is very good, and so it's going to be extremely difficult for me to actually accomplish anything here, as he intercepts and stops this capture. That resource is so close, but I think at this point it's probably as good as his. Because I had 3 bots dead there for a second, only my sniper was alive, and my sniper's getting pushed back, unsurprisingly. I don't think I'm going to be able to even take these middle resources at all. I think entu is just going to clean up the rest of the map. So off to a strong start for entu. I was talking yesterday about Hairspec being the #1 seed on the red team. Currently entu is the #2 seed. So a loss here isn't really surprising. I think I'm the number 7 or 8 seed. So I've still got several really close matches, but there's kind of this cliff in rating for the red team at least. Right around the top 4-ish players, there's a cliff, like a mountain to have to climb. But there's the collection map to entu. So now we have the domination map, and you can see he's using a similar lineup to mine: 2 shotguns, 2 machine guns, 2 snipers. But let's go ahead and get it off. I like the 5 base layout. It's got the force fields, which are in pretty good position to lock down an entire half of the map. But as I've said before, I don't have any force field logic in my bots. I would prefer my bot to be on the base anyway, because a bot that's on the base is capturing or is giving points to your team. And my shotguns, I did just notice some undesirable behavior on my shotguns. I'll have to fix that later. The machine guns are having a duel here. It looks like entu is going to get the better of it. His 1 versus 1 largely just depends on random numbers. And I got the sniper support for a little bit, but he's got some too, so it's not like I have any advantage there anymore. I am keeping pace with the score, though a small lead in entu's favor. This middle base is going to be hard for either of us to hold. entu's bots are very good at fighting and very aggressive in general. My bots are a good bit more defensive by nature, but this is a heavily objective weighted map, so losing the fight isn't as detrimental. In collection, if you lose the fight, you lose a resource, and if that happens a few times, then you can't recover. But in this, since it always runs the 5 minutes, and there's almost always a chance to catch up, provided your bots are proactive about capturing bases, and that gives me a much better chance to actually make a comeback. I am down 3 points now, though. entu is building a growing lead. I need my bots to... what would be really nice is if these... Yeah, there we go. If these 3 bots here moved to this middle base, that's going to provide them much better access to shoot at a variety of targets and a much better position in general. If I'm holding this middle base, this top base is fairly safe. And because of that, the enemy will have a hard time capturing this one if I'm sitting in the middle like this. And you can see now that I've taken the middle, I'm slowly closing this point gap. The big thing here is that from the machine guns and when I have the sniper here, they can apply a lot of pressure to a lot of bots pretty safely from this base. But his snipers are clearing out my machine guns pretty steadily. As I said before, in Domination, my bots never retreat to a safe range, they only retreat to long range. And since they're already at long range here, then my bot isn't going to retreat any further, which I prefer, but it does get my bots killed a lot when there might have been something I could do about it. I may also have to look into my target priorities, but generally speaking, I try to shoot things that are presenting a greater threat to the base, because the death of a bot isn't a big deal. The loss of a base is. And right now I hold 3 bases. I've actually turned the score around. I'm up 6. I don't know if that's going to hold because he is marching all of his bots onto this bottom base, but I'm taking the top base as payment. So that works out fairly well for me. Yeah, that is some undesirable behavior there with the shotgun approaching the base I've already captured. Generally speaking, I use my shotguns to be very aggressive base capturing and neutralization forces, and moving toward a friendly base is not conducive to doing that, but I think I know how to fix that. But I will have to double check my AI to see if that's actually, if what's happening is what I think is happening. But as I said, this middle base still hotly contested. I am up by 9 points right now, which at this point I don't think is recoverable. I think that there's too small of a time remaining to actually make up that gap. And so it looks like Domination's going to go to me, and it's going to go to Elimination. And so, good game. So now we have the Elimination match, and as I've said before, Entu's combat is really his strong suit. He uses his combat to open up the map objectives rather than forcing combat to happen at the map objectives like some players will. Um, he the combat here I expect is going to go in his favor. Uh, Hairspec described Entu as an elimination specialist, and I don't think that's wrong to say. Entu is definitely at his best in elimination. And you can see immediately we've both kind of divided into fire teams. He has 2 assaults, a sniper and a machine gun on both sides. I have 2 assaults, a machine gun, and a shotgun on both sides. I did drop my snipers because I saw some really good behavior without them. Snipers provide a lot of long-range pressure, as I've said more than a few times, but the problem with them is that they're actually very vulnerable, although this assault has made himself very vulnerable in the process of running down here. So I think this assault, he is trying to get out of there, but he's going to bleed a lot more armor than I'd like doing so. And you can see Entu is steadily pushing me back, basically across the board. It looks like we're gonna get the long firing line, I call it, which is basically where his bots will be more or less in a line on one side, my bots will be more or less in a line on the other, and we'll be fighting from one wall of the map to the other, which does happen sometimes, and you kind of have to be prepared for it. But you can see just how much more effectively Entu is pushing than I am. His bots have more or less casually just shoved my bots a quarter of the way across the arena so far, and if he keeps this pace up, I don't think he's going to have any problem taking me off the field entirely. I suspect it won't be long until we see my bots all stuck up against the wall. Entu's elimination is highly effective. This bot did get far enough away where I think it's got the attention of my shotguns, but I think it might be too little too late, especially with this health pack here. I think this bot is going to be able to reach that health pack. Entu's been trying for it, but it keeps getting harassed by the shotguns. But yeah, he had no problem getting to that health pack. And now you can see this assault is both low, both of these assaults are low on health and fairly close to the wall. I don't think it's going to be too much longer until my bots start exploding. My shotgun's still in good health, but this assault got a little low. I know Entu, his retreat is very precise, but it doesn't overly value keeping all of your shields, because the health packs spawn, so he intends to use the health packs, and as long as his bots have health left, they essentially have more ability to fight. And this assault is running in very close. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it though. That's disappointing. That is one missed bullet away. I can't control that. Like, I did everything right there. I just got random number generated and didn't kill that assault. I don't think that would have won the match for me, as hard as he's pushing down here still. Yep, there goes one of my bots, and I don't think it's going to be too long until the rest join it. My bots are retreating into the wall at this point, and as I said before, once you start retreating into the wall, basically the match is already over. And here goes a second bot of mine. And it shouldn't be long until the rest join them in the bot scrapyard. Still though, 2-1. I can't be too disappointed in that. I won Domination, which so far has been my strongest game mode, I think. And Entu won the series. So congratulations and good game. But this also does more or less demonstrate that I am absolutely not ready for a higher level of play. This is a walkover at this point. It's just shredding me. But yeah, as I said, good games Entu, and thank you for watching. Have a good one.